Well, good afternoon, and welcome to our session, Transforming Academic Leadership. So we have two sections within this talk. So I will talk about a kind of an AI experiment at my libraries at college, and then Liz will talk about innovations in scholarly communication at her library. So I'll let Liz introduce herself first.
Good afternoon. Thank you for attending our sessions. I'm Lis Pankl, and I'm the Dean of Libraries at Mississippi State University.
And hi, I am Leo Lowe, Dean of the College of University Libraries and Learning Sciences at the University of New Mexico. And so today, I'm going to share a little bit about a recent experimentation we tried. So let me just ask you a question to begin. If you can raise your hand, if you have tried using ChatGPT. I think it's almost everybody. I think it is everybody. Now, second question. Do you use the paid version? Do you pay for the premium version of ChatGPT? Please raise your hand. I would say 10% of you. So which is consistent with all the my kind of anecdotal questioning and my national survey, which is about 10% of people use that. So not a lot, basically, and it's been around for a little bit now. So that's why I wanted to try at my library. So when GPT came out in November, I tried it immediately, and it was great. I thought it was the most amazing thing, even though there were so many flaws, so many issues. I'm sure you all know that. And then in March, just a few months later, OpenAI came out with the paid version, which is a much more powerful, they call it GPT Plus, which is basically the newer version, GPT 4.0, which has a much larger set of training data, and the results output are a lot more powerful. So with that, I really wanted my college, which comprised of the university libraries, university press, and the academic program. We offer degrees from bachelor's to PhDs in learning sciences. I wanted my college to try it out and see how we can kind of incorporate that into the regular workflow. So I kind of look at it and have decided to develop a structure, a 12-week experimentation to try it out. In fact, I asked ChatGPT to help me develop that structure. So it's a 12-week pilot program to explore I would say, practical applications of generative AI, specific GPT-4 in applying to our regular workflow. So I sent a call out and say, whoever is interested, just let me know and kind of think about a personal project that you want to try this on. So we have, I set aside a budget for 10 people, and I think 15, 16 people apply to have a look at the diversity of it and pick out 10 people to try it with the goal of see how we can enhance organizational capabilities. Now, you've probably heard of, do more with less, right? How can we do that? It's pretty much impossible with the same number of hours, same number of people, or even with fewer people, fewer hours. Maybe the only way is to do it with better technology. So this may be one way that we can, do a little bit of that. So I want to try it. And then also develop proficiency and kind of have informed perspectives on these new tools through hands-on training. I believe that AI literacy is going to be so important moving forward. Right now, we have a wide spectrum of perspectives on these generative AI tools, and from ban it, this is the worst thing ever, to this is the best thing ever, and a wide variety in between. I think with AI literacy, learning a little bit more about it, thinking more about the ethics and responsibility and the little bit of technical knowledge and hands-on experience, and help us make informed decisions on whether to use it or how to use these things. And then also, it's a chance to instill a innovation spirit within the college to see how we can establish a culture of trying new things and have an experimental mindset. So the structure included a introductory 2-week of training. We collected curation of training modules, and we developed a LIP guide for education. And so we watched some videos, and we signed up for some other ones specifically for librarianship. I think that was a library boot camp of some sort for prompt engineering early on, to let people know a little bit more about that. And then after the first 2 weeks, we kind of talked a little bit about the personal projects they wanted to try it on, and having a discussion was really great to see what people are interested in and how they wanted to use it. After the 2 weeks, they decided on the personal project. I gave them a template to fill out and to document their progress and what they have learned. I also asked ChatGPT to help me come up with that template, which I'll be happy to share if you're interested later on. And then 8 weeks, basically, they use a GPT-4 to apply to the workflow. And there's a variety of projects basically, and then we'll meet every other week, and have almost like a communities of practice. People sharing what they've learned, what worked, what didn't work, what were their concerns, and all of that. So that proved to be very, very helpful. So basically, this company is an exploratory model. So they gain technical proficiencies and kind of think about the strategic perspective of using AI in our work. So we want to share some insights, from that. So like I said, 10 participants with very diverse usage of it, from the libraries, from the press, from the learning sciences program. There's a mix of skill levels. Some have already tried it a little bit, some were completely new to it. And even the attitudes, some were very skeptical and some were very embracing of it. And there's some of the projects like, one person wanted to use AI for research data plans, and one person from the press wanted to try with manuscript drafting or abstract, and using AI tools for instructional content creation, student support, using it in cataloging, metadata, collection management. One person in reference wanted to try AI to generate FAQs based on our data and versus the human-generated FAQ, and see how they compare. Library communications, and my assistant, I really encourage her to use it, to have her own assistant to work with scheduling, summarizing minutes and all of that. So she tried it on that. So let's take a moment to reflect on, on that. And so at the beginning of the program, before they started anything, I sent them a pre-program survey just to test out, how they feel about it. What, kind of self-reporting their AI literacy level, their familiarity with these tools, and all of that. So at the beginning, the average was 2.36 out of 5. And ask about their AI literacy, is like 2.45 out of 5, which is below midpoint, right? So 2.5 is midpoint. Actually, 3 is the midpoint, 1 to 5. So fast forward to the conclusion of the program, we did another survey, the post-program survey. So it showed quite a bit of growth and engagement. They are more familiar with AI tools, so it's 3.63, so it's above midpoint. And their AI literacy level is also improved from, to 3.38. But like any kind of innovative venture, we also encounter challenges. So that the participants, wrote that they noted technical limitations, and also prompt engineering is still kind of a hit and miss. They haven't figured out how to do it yet, so it's a bit of a hurdle. But at the same time, they learn a lot through just doing and trying it on real things. So as a result, our participants honed their skills in crafting more precise prompts because they document all the prompts in the template I provided for them. And they show a little bit more understanding of the capabilities and limitations of GPT-4. So they, the competency, at least the self-reporting competencies, I'll just show a little, in the post-program survey as well. Finally, we asked them, how did you feel about this program? Do we want to do it again? They gave it a pretty high score, 4.75 out of 5. So this is something we may want to try again, either with a different set of people or with a different tool, perhaps. So there are some lessons learned. Some of the things they wrote. This program changed AI from a threat into a collaborator. And so another person, I gained confidence in using AI to enhance my daily work rather than replace it. And the freedom to experiment made AI less intimidating. So some key learnings is that hands-on experimentations increase comfort with AI. They practice prompts in a way that they believe they built critical skills, which I also agree with. And also tailored projects have amplified engagement. But there are a lot of challenges. I learned that from just talking with them every other week and also from the survey. One thing I learned very quickly is that OpenAI didn't want us to use one credit card to pay for multiple accounts. So that's the first thing we learned. So we had a lot of trouble getting people signed on to GPT-4, actually. And even people who signed on earlier got dropped the second month. So that took a bit of, kind of experimenting as well. So we use several cards, even that cost problem. So I guess they just want us to pay for the enterprise version of it, which they can charge a lot more, which makes sense for them. But at the same time, that makes sense for us as well, because the biggest concern moving, during the whole process is that people were unsure of what they can upload to these models without breaking any kind of rules, laws, all of that. So data privacy is a huge concern. Now, with the enterprise version, we can probably control that a lot more. So that may be something we want to think about. Another challenge is prompt engineering is difficult but essential. It just takes a lot of practice. It's not rocket science. It's like conversation. But at the same time, you need to be able to formulate the problem. You need to be able to articulate it and, in a very precise way to let the machine know what you want exactly so it can produce for you. And it takes a lot of experimentation and also a lot of evaluation skills to help adapt to the output and then think about how you want to improve that. And also, we noticed that AI lacks subject matter expertise. So no matter how good your prompts are, you still need some domain expertise to verify whether you're getting what you want, actually. So that's another thing that we want to pay attention to moving forward, because one of the things we want to think about is there are all these AI tools out there. How can we evaluate them to make sure that they are good to use for us, for our users? So that's one of the things we want to develop is a set of criteria to think about, or rubric to think about how to evaluate these AI tools. So there are some leadership challenges, and several of them, there are technical limitations affecting the output, time investment needed to learn how to use these things, and lack of subject matter expertise and creative thinking could be some of those. And also, there are a lot of opportunities as well. I think it's a great opportunity for libraries to take a leadership role in this. This is almost like internet, 20 years ago. It's going to change a lot. It's moving a lot faster than the internet, actually. And we are in a great position because nobody knows how to do it. We can take the leadership role and get on it quickly and take on the lead role to teach other people how to do it. And I'm trying to do that at my college as well. And we want to think about the integration strategies as well. So these things are moving fast. We need to think about how to, like I said earlier, how to evaluate how to use them or what to use, whether we want to adopt this thing or that thing, or how, to explain to our users why we're doing this. So that's something we can think about moving forward. So finally, So the results is, I think it's a success for us. So we want to do it again. And we are placing ourselves at the forefront within our university. We are starting an AI empowerment initiative, and this will be a great way to showcase that we can serve as a role model for the rest of the university, and not just for teaching and learning, but how to integrate it into university work. So we'll be hopefully sharing this with the rest of the university and even the rest of the state. We're working with, connecting with legislators and see how we can showcase that. And so our journey with this really emphasized the importance of collaboration, because the most valuable thing I think out of this was that community of practice where people get together to talk about it, and we want more of that across the university. So this is our starting point. Our vision extends, way beyond that. We want to, further experiment with different tools and all of that. But exploration isn't our sole aim. We want to really take advantage of these opportunities, these technologies rather, because they're immensely powerful, and but use them ethically and responsibly. So that's. By the way, if you're interested in learning about the structure and template and all of that, just contact me later and I'll be happy to share them. All right, thank you, Liz.
Thanks. I think I'm going to have to stand up because I forgot my glasses. So that's not good. So I'm going to be talking about a couple new products that we implemented at Mississippi State University, CloudSource Plus as a discovery layer, and also Article Galaxy Scholar, which is a document delivery service. And I want to emphasize that I'm really going to be talking about the change management communication piece. If you're kind of interested in the weeds, two of my colleagues, Ray Uishin and Kathy Austin, will have a session tomorrow at 11:15 that gets into that. And then also Ray's going to be on a panel for Cersei Dynex, which is the vendor for CloudSource Plus, tomorrow at 2. So those are going to be kind of the technical ones. This is really about how we communicated within the library and on campus. So just a little background. I've been at MSU for almost about 2 years now, and came into a situation that was what I would characterize as a pretty difficult situation. We've had a flat budget for 15 years. And so we did kind of, crunch the numbers. And if we had just kept up with inflation over those 15 years, we would have had double the budget that we do now. So not in the greatest place. And also there were just some pieces missing organizationally within the library. So the library had never had a business manager, ever. So nobody with any sort of accounting or business degree at all. So that was probably the first position that I hired in March when I got there. Also, I hired an AD for collection management and strategy, and the library had had an interim one for about 2 to 3 years, and then before that had only had a part-time AD in that role. So was not really a position that had gotten the time and attention that it needed. And then also, and this is a little bit more of a recent thing, created a new position, which is a director of resource management. Because when we started digging into this, we realized we needed somebody on this full time rather than kind of having it broken up between librarians in the unit. So going into FY24, we projected that we needed to make a 4% cut, not to be over budget, because we had been over budget about $193,000, which as a new dean, that's not really something I want to be doing. We also found that as we dug into our packages that we had a lot of overlap. We were paying for the same database across different packages, and we were not in the best place in terms of some of our consortial agreements. So there was a lot that needed to be overhauled. So we started looking at CloudSource Plus and also their OA offerings. Because we wanted to, one of the packages that we had, the discovery layer, was connected with databases. And so we needed to kind of get out of that, We were looking around at what we could possibly use, and other people, and again, these are kind of some details that can't share with you, but other people found this product, had worked a lot with Cersei Dynex for our ILS, and so decided to go with them. And they provided us with some overlap analysis. And we found that about 50% of our databases were actually already available open access and growing since this time. That's actually kind of an old figure. We also wanted to look at, with both relying more on open access, look at using Article Galaxy Scholar as a document delivery service to kind of backfill what the open access wasn't getting from databases that we had decided to cut. And this is something we're still working on. Both of these projects are still being tweaked, still being implemented. So it's been months and months of work. So in terms of the communication and socialization around this change, it really started with, hey, what are we going to do? We're going to be way over budget. So we formed a small team. Like I said, people on this team identified CloudSource, they identified the open access possibilities, and also Article Galaxy Scholar. And we just really started with a conversation with the provost. And I remember telling him, people are probably not going to be happy about this, people as in faculty on campus. And he's like, well, okay, and we'll deal with it. And then started working with subject librarians. There was definitely some resistance to change there. And then decided to just kind of cut the cord, go with it, made a big announcement to campus, to departments. And that's where things started to fall apart a little bit. And so kind of reflecting on this now, obviously, if you could go and have a test with both of these products for a year before you committed or got rid of anything, that would be ideal. We didn't really feel like we had that luxury. But I think that I would have definitely brought in other deans on campus and also department heads much earlier in the conversation. I think we were so focused on kind of the nitty-gritty and the weeds, that was kind of a misstep. Something that we did that's been really great is a LibGuide that we have, and it shows what databases have gone away. It shows, what's new. Like I said, we're constantly kind of tweaking things, adding new features, especially to CloudSource. And also gives them a direct way to contact us, kind of explains the different products. So that's been really successful. And then the presentation, and this is where it kind of, this should have been a lot earlier, and we gave a presentation to the deans and the VPs, and they were actually really excited about this once they understood what it was. I think when it was just sort of coming through a campus announcement, there was some suspicion or hesitation there. And then giving college and departmental level presentations, and this is where we really started to get some buy-in, because I think people were just like, oh no, like for some reason they're just, okay, it went away, or the database went away. They didn't understand that, you were actually sort of expanding resources in many cases. And so that's where we really started to get faculty on board. And we did that with that small team that was formed. And then finally took it to, we have a university library committee, got a pretty good response from them. And actually it ended up really kind of giving more support for the library, because they were like, oh, wow, you really kind of had to take some dramatic steps here because of budget. What can we do to help you advocate for a budget on campus? So that was a really good thing that came out of it. And then with Faculty Senate, and that led to some really interesting conversations about a high interest in read and publish agreements, people asking things that were not just about the changes, but about other aspects of the library. So this is probably the most faculty engagement that I've ever seen in my 18 years in libraries. And it really kind of came in like a stressful, kind of high risk way, but it's really brought a lot of attention, I think, that's ended up being really great for the library. I would just tweak a few little minor things that we did. So this is the LibGuide that I talked about. We've got the what's new, subscriptions not renewed, what's coming soon. And then this, kind of, what did we call it? Let us hear from you. And at first we just got a bunch of, this isn't here anymore. And then, and then we kind of went through and explained. And what another great thing was we got different faculty, different department heads one-on-one in the library and could really sit down and show them, and then they understood. And so we haven't been getting, I don't think we've gotten something on that for months now, once people got used to the new systems. So again, lessons learned, communicating with internal and external stakeholders, first priority. And I think with the small team that we formed, and definitely got the leadership team on board as a whole, but again, with the subject librarians, so that's something we're doing now, bringing them in sooner. And that's been really successful. And then also bringing deans in sooner, bringing department heads in sooner as we're making changes. But also, not only have this is the most faculty engagement that I've seen in my 18 years in libraries, but was really interesting to see how much faculty are unaware of how to access the resources they had even, and kind of how disengaged on some ways that they were. So it really has been a great learning curve, and that's kind of what they've complained about, because they've said, well, this has taken a lot of my time to learn this new discovery layer, or to learn how to use Article Galaxy Scholar, and I understand that, they're busy. But I think that overall, it kind of gives them a better awareness and a better knowledge of the library. And then my provost uses this word socialization a lot, and it's kind of a word I've glommed onto, but I think it's a great way to describe how to build consensus around ideas. And I think that sometimes people shy away from making big changes because they're afraid that, well, people will be mad. But I think that if you give them time and give them opportunities for feedback, that can help sort of mitigate some of that response. And again, if you could allow for a longer period of time to put everything in place, but as I was kind of talking about some of our budget realities, this change that we've made has made it so we will be in budget for the next 2 years, and then at that point, inflation catches up with us again. So we're gonna have to think of something new to do at that point. But if you weren't doing it in sort of a duress sort of budget situation, allowing for a longer period of time, giving people test opportunities would definitely be much better. So looking forward, we talked about continuing with the open access is just growing, continuing to utilize that, and then also looking at read and publish possibilities. We just signed an agreement with Cambridge. We had already had one with, I forget, something biology, I can't remember exactly. We already had one kind of in the works, looking at other possibilities with other vendors. And then also kind of continuing to look at the discovery layer. I think that what's been great about CloudSource from the librarians, the system people that I've talked to, is there's a lot of custom aspects to it. So that's been really great. But continuing to look at discovery layers and really to kind of investigate how users interface with our website and with our resources. And then also rebuilding those relationships. Like I said, there was a lot of sort of panic at the beginning, but it's also been a great opportunity for learning and for kind of making people aware of what the library's budget situation is. I think for a long time the library had been a bit insular and hadn't really been building those relationships or being transparent or communicating about what was really going on. So that has been a good piece as well.